She Is Serious, a podcast where we showcase female athletes and their impact beyond the game. Each week, we will be bringing on influential women in the world of sports and showing why they are so much more than athletes. My name is Taylor Hall. I'm a health and fitness influencer and collegiate athlete at Biola University. And this is my sis, my co-host, Ashley White. What's up, girl?
Hey, y'all. Hey, my name is Ashley White, a former student athlete manager for UNCW's women's basketball, a blogger, writer for Beautiful Ballers, and an advocate for women in sports. Thank you for tuning in weekly to She Is Serious podcast. And this is why female athletes are now to be taken seriously. Yes.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, sis. Welcome back to another episode of She Is Serious. We are so excited to have another special guest on, a trailblazer for women in sports. Tori, how are you doing today, girl?
I'm so good. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Of course, girl. We had to have you on this podcast because, girl, you are something serious. You are that epitome of She Is Serious. So
Thank
we
you.
have to know what is your sports story?
Well, I actually played softball for 14 years, and then I ended up quitting softball my sophomore year of
What?
high school. Yeah, to focus on track. I was injured, so I had a partial tear in my rotator cuff, and obviously it was super small, so like I couldn't get surgery. So I just went to physical therapy a lot, and it kind of just kept coming back, and my shoulder never really felt good, but also like I just started to hate the game. And then I fell in love with track and just something new. And then I actually tore my hamstring, my right hamstring, I think it was one of them, my junior year of high school, which is pretty much your biggest recruiting year. Most people get recruited very heavily like junior year, and then you sign somewhere and National Signing Day and senior year. So I ended up being a walk-on my first year at Illinois State, and then I got on some scholarship my second year. And then after my second year, my season was cut short after indoor season, and then I moved to Oklahoma State, and then I spent my last 3 years here.
No way.
Yeah.
You were a walk-on?
I was a walk-on at first, yeah. I worked really hard.
That's insane.
I appreciated it because I think it made me work harder. Like just knowing that like I wasn't getting my school paid for, or my like I was kind of just doing track for fun, like it really motivated me to want to be a top dog athlete more than I think if I wasn't.
So like in track, when you say work harder, because for basketball, it's like you can get into the gym, get extra shots up, do some extra ball handling. But in track, do you do more running? I feel like that could almost put you backwards if you just keep like pounding on your knees and stuff like that. Like what is working harder in track?
I think it's different depending on what you do necessarily in track. For me, I was a sprinter. So like in off seasons, I would build like really heavy with my muscle. Like I'd make sure I was strengthening all my muscles up and stuff like that. And I more so built my endurance. Like you can run a lot, but I wouldn't do a lot of sprinting, like in a sense during the off season. But even then when we got into season, like whether it was extra practices with my coach or stuff like that, like I just made sure like I wanted to get all my technique down and stuff like that. But I knew had like my off season plan. Then in season, I just made sure like I spent extra time with my coaches, just to really my coach at Illinois State, just to make sure that, you know, I was getting what I needed to get done. Because sometimes when you go to a practice, if you don't feel like you have a good practice or there was something that you didn't get down, you just kind of want to put in maybe a couple more reps, but never too much to the
Right.
point where you're going to overuse your body or get yourself hurt.
So more like technique stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you at Oklahoma State, what was the best part about Oklahoma State along with track season? What was the best part for you?
I really like the relationship I built like with the girls. I can definitely say that I left here with some forever friends, and I think that that to me is more important than any memory that anything else really could have given me, because now I have people that will be in my life for the rest of my life, and they are my day ones, and I could not be more thankful for them. And that's super important to me. It's just like building bonds while you're experiencing something else.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
I think that's so important. Like the people that you do sports with growing up in high school and in college,
Yep.
those are the people that you want like a part of your wedding. You
Mhm.
want them like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you guys go through so much together and it's already a built-in family. And I think that's something that I'm having a hard time with now transitioning out of college. Like, although I didn't have the greatest experience with teammates at this school that I was at right now at Biola,
Mhm.
um, I had a built-in family already, so it's like it's easy to make friends, it's easy to just connect with one another because you go through practices, games, everything every single day. And then it's like, oh, I don't want to talk to the volleyball team, I don't want to talk to the track team because like what do we have in common, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's kind of different. I feel like going outside now, it's like, I actually have to really put in extra effort to make friends and try to relate to people like that's not just in basketball. So I feel like that's harder, you know?
Yeah, I can see it. I think I'm a very social person though, so for me, I like to make friends with anybody and everybody, so it's fun.
No, yeah. And like me too. I'm a social person. I think it's like it's harder for me to get deep with
Yeah,
people. You know,
I'm
it's
the
hard for me to
same.
get deep with others that are not, especially not with athletes. Like
Yeah.
when I'm going into work and stuff every day and I'm a trainer and these people that I'm around are trainers too, but they're not athletes. So it's like I can't really be like, oh, remember this, like how hard this was, or because it's just like you relate on a different level. So I think it's just finding um how you can connect with others outside of your sport because of course we'll always have those people with our team, and that's super cool that you had such a great experience with those girls. Like that's huge.
Yeah.
I'm sure it made your experience like that much more fun.
It did. I definitely loved it because I wouldn't say it was necessarily the most welcoming place at Illinois State. So when I got here, it was a lot different, and I appreciated that.
But yeah,
That's awesome.
so how was the process of transferring from like one college to another, and also like how did like COVID kind of affected um not only your season but like your platform of what you are doing right now through social media?
I feel like COVID didn't really affect the platform because if anything, it gave you more time. So like, because you were always so secluded, and it was more so like with athletes, like like we had to get COVID tested 3 times a week and we had to wear masks at practices. And when we practice, it's like our coach would put a cone. So he would separate the 100 meter like straight away. He would separate it in the 50, and like we would have to warm up. Like he separated our practices into like all these groups. So like one person will warm up on one end, one person will warm up on the other end. So it was really weird. And then my first like season here, obviously I came in during COVID. So like I never got to see the campus, never got to meet the girls, never got to meet anybody. Like everything, my campus tour was a YouTube video. Um, all my like advisor meetings and stuff were just over the phone. Nothing was over Zoom. Like it was kind of difficult, but at the same time, like, we worked with what we had. I don't think anybody really knew what was coming next with COVID. So everyone was just trying to adjust in the best way that they could. And so that's kind of just what I did. And I think like kind of knowing that it was in a big transition phase for everybody, it made my move just a little bit easier because obviously like we came down during COVID, so like it made the move different and easy in a way because it was already a transition and the world was just in the transition phase. So that made it easier. But yeah, when it came to the media, I just think it gave you more time to like focus on stuff because at practices you were very secluded, but then like in the house, it's like you just had all this time. And so you have energy, you got to get out somewhere. So for me, I just put it into my TikToks and stuff like that.
Girl, because I remember like the whole news, like, not only like the fact that you are the highest NIL athlete is like, especially in Oklahoma State, where, people think of Oklahoma State, they think of the football, but the fact that you have made a huge impact, girl, I was like, yes, we women are
So
dope. So like how did the NIL like just change your life?
I feel like that moment never really hit until I signed with my agency. And then the first deal I ever did with them was with Gatorade. And I was like, whoa, like these are companies that I never pictured myself working with and doing things that I never thought I was going to do. Like at first, like I feel like, yeah, I was very into NIL and I knew that I wanted to grow, but I never expected myself growing this big. And so, like, it was all very surreal to me. And it just was like, wow, okay. And then when I realized the companies I was working with, it kind of makes you like, you can't work with a company like Gatorade or Meta or these big companies and not have confidence and knowing that, like, yeah, I got this. And yeah, I know what I can do with this. And so it kind of made me grow up and boss up a little bit to kind of start to know my worth more and know, like, hey, like, if I really put in the work, like, I think I only had like maybe 50,000 followers at the time. Like, I wasn't maybe 60. maybe I think even less. Honestly, I think even less because I didn't hit 100K until last year, and I remember around last year in like August, I think I was only at like 80K or something. Maybe August,
On
July, some
Instagram or on TikTok?
on Instagram. TikTok was a lot different,
Okay.
but yeah, so I grew a lot. It really only takes one picture, one reel, one something just to blow up, and I don't think that's what people realize. But when you see what blows up and what people like, keep building on that. And that's like what was huge for me because you kind of start to figure out what works for you.
So what was it that first blew up for you on like which platform? And then how did you use that to leverage your brand?
My media day pictures on TikTok, and then I just kind of became known as that girl from Oklahoma State University who runs track. So I kind of just stuck with it. But I wanted to make sure, like with my brand, that I didn't just build it off of being that girl who runs track. I always, like, I still did things. Like if I like went out with my friends, I would like make TikToks of, like around that, but like obviously in a PG way. And then if
Right.
I was at home, like I made sure I didn't just put my whole life around track because at the end of the day, I wanted people to know like I'm still Tori. Like I'm not just an athlete. Like I'm a person. I go through struggles just like you do. Like I have insecurities just like you do. Like I live the same life just as you do. I just might have a little bit more followers than you do. And so I always wanted to build my brand off of just me because I was Tori before I was an athlete, and I'm going to be Tori when I'm done being an athlete. And I knew that. So I thought it was going to be easier to continue to build my brand if I just didn't build it around Oklahoma State.
Girl, that is what our podcast is all about because it's really hard to figure out your identity outside of sport when you're wrapped up in it all your life, but you already figured that out beforehand, so you're just a step ahead of everybody else. You know what I mean? Because you have these dreams and goals and visions of what you want to do in life after your sport, and that's awesome. So just having that, and like you said, you're so much more than just a track athlete. Like you're Tori, you want to show people your real life, and I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. Like with people, influencers or celebrities, like yes, they're people too.
Mm-hmm.
They go through the same struggles. They have a bigger following, but they want to like people like you and other professional athletes want to show and inspire the younger generation. You can get to this level, and so it's really cool that you're doing that and you're using that platform to do so.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's amazing. Gatorade. Gatorade was your first brand deal.
Yeah.
How did you feel in the moment? And then how were you able to use that brand deal to get more?
In the moment, I was kind of like, oh my gosh, I'm doing my deal with Gatorade. And then, like, filming the video kind of did not go as planned. Like, it was this very high peak, then it was low, then it was high again, then it was low, and it was all over the place. But honestly, that's kind of how it goes. Like, no brand deal is ever perfectly smooth. And I think that that's something that people need to know. Like, it's not always just going to be cupcakes and rainbows. Like, you're going to have some dark times and you're going to have some super bright days too with it. But I feel like just because I worked with such a high name company, it possibly made other companies be like, oh, well, she's worked with Gatorade. So, we're like this company, so we could work with her too. So I hope at least it inspired other companies. But I just enjoy working pretty much with all companies as long as like it kind of goes with my morals and something that I'm supportive of. And then I'm just down to work with whatever.
So when it comes to say like a company that wants like you to sponsor them, is there like a standard or a rule or like something that you let them know like this is what I am, I'm not gonna just pick any like Tom, Dick, and Harry, Sally, Sue, and Mary. Like,
Well, my agency works like majority getting like the deals and stuff. And so for them, I think that they kind of know what we like and what our interests are. And then they'll always reach out and be like, hey, this company's interested in working with you. Like, how do you feel about it? And then you can let them know. But for me personally, like, I will have smaller companies reach out to me and be like, hey, can you do this for us? But I think one thing that is really hard for me is I'm a really nice person. And I feel like people don't see that from me. People see my numbers and assume that I'm cocky, I'm stuck up, I'm this, I'm that. Not me at all. I feel bad even saying no to a company, but one of the biggest things I've had to learn is you got to know your worth. You know, if I'm getting this much money on a deal to do one TikTok post, I don't really feel comfortable letting a company like, hey, can you make 5 TikToks, one Instagram feed for $100? Like, no, I'm sorry. I am so much more than my numbers, and everything I do is worth more than that, like, and if a company sees you, companies talk to other companies. So if one company's like, hey, like, I know she does these big deals and she gets paid from this company for this much money, like, and I got her to do it for 100, so maybe you can get her to do something for cheap too. Like, they will take advantage of you and they will lower your price. And so you always have to keep
Right.
building your price as you grow. So for me, like, it kind of comes down to price, but also like, what do you want from me? Like, you know, like if people send me merch, like, hey, can I send you my clothes for an Instagram story? Perfect. I'll take some free clothes, some more stuff to do, some more stuff to wear, some more stuff to post. I can shout you out on my story. Cool. But when it comes to if you want a lot for a low price, I feel like I'm almost at 1 million followers across all my, you know, across like all my socials. Like, I feel like you
Yeah.
have to be able to match my numbers in order for me to.
Right. And it's like, look how many people that I can reach from my platforms, and your brand can't reach that themselves.
Yeah.
So basically, you're helping them, you're kind of doing them a favor. So when they're trying to downplay you and then bring down your price, it's super frustrating. And then I've had a lot of brands reach out to me, like, I definitely don't have as big of a following as you, but it's the same kind of thing, like, oh, can you just do this for free? I'll send you a free product. And for some brands, like, yes, I'll do that. But for others, I'm like, no, like, I know my worth and I want to build my brand. And it's like, it's a waste of my time to do all these things, because I think a lot of things that people don't realize as well is that making content and then editing it,
Yep.
we don't have anyone doing that for us. That takes a long time.
Yep.
And we want to make sure that it looks good. We want to make sure that we're representing the brands that we're working with well, and not only the brands, but ourselves, because you probably have a goal of making your own brand in the future, right?
Yeah, and I think what too is like, if you want these high quality pictures, I'm not taking them, and neither is my iPhone. So I have to hire somebody to pay, which is coming out
Mm-hmm.
of the money that you send me from your thing or from whatever.
Right.
So if you're not sending me that much money, I don't have money to hire, and my content's not going to be good. But then if you're, you know, working with a small company and you produce very, you know, 2 out of 10 content, other companies going to be like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't like that she's doing that. I don't like that, you know, her work, her quality is the good, like the best. So then they don't want to work with you. And you really have to build your brand around like high quality, like knowing your worth, and then just, yeah, it's a lot. But as long as you learn all those steps, but you have to understand too, like, you have to start small. Like, at first, when those companies reach out, like when you have lower numbers and those companies reach out to you, I was saying yes to everybody just because that's how you build your brand. But the more you start to build, the more you have to increase and kind of level yourself up.
Some really good advice for, especially for young content creators out there, and for everyone else that's trying to establish themselves. Like, know your worth, and you are definitely worth a lot more than expected sometimes.
Yeah, I'm excited. So I'm
Yeah.
excited just to see for the future and everything, but more excited, I think, for myself. And like, now that I'm outside of track and kind of rediscovering myself as more Tori without being known as like that girl who runs track at Oklahoma State. I feel like I'll more so be known as that girl who used to run track at Oklahoma State. Um, and then obviously just like building my name off of Tori, but trying to level myself up is kind of what my main goal is right now.
Know your worth and add tax. Don't give nobody a discount, period.
Nope.
Period. So where do you see yourself and the brand that you're creating for yourself 5 years from now?
This is the long shot, but I would love to be like a millionaire at some point. Like, you know, and people can make millions off of social media, and just to build a
Oh, yeah.
brand, yeah, people just to build a brand off my name, but it's like I want to make an inspirational amount of money, like amount of money that's like, wow, like I did this while inspiring the younger generations. And then like one thing I always work around is my mom. I always talk about her. She has a traumatic brain injury and she lives off a long-term disability. And I like where she lives, but at the same time, just seeing the way I live and seeing the way that like she lives, like I don't necessarily like how like my apartment's a little bit nicer than hers. And so I would like her to be in a nicer place than me. So my goal is to give back to obviously the woman who is the reason why I'm here. And so one of my goals is, because obviously like for me, I don't think a lot of people like know this, but social media influencing is literally my only job. So those are my only funds. So I have to spend my day-to-day life based off of that. And but on the side, like I'm always trying to save up and do something nice for my mom so I can get her in a nicer apartment and pay for her rent for a whole year so she doesn't have to worry about like spending her long-term disability. Because sometimes I'll get more just in some of my deals added up over time than she will in a whole year, and that just eats me up because there's not really much she can do about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Would you say
That's
your mother
awesome.
is would you say your mom is your main inspiration in both life and track?
I would say not necessarily just my mom, but my whole family. Like They are so supportive and loving, and I think like my favorite thing is just making them proud. And that's huge for me, is just to make them proud and for them to be like, yeah, this is my granddaughter, or yeah, this is my niece, or yeah, this is my cousin, or yeah, this is my daughter, and have confidence behind saying that. And that, people that they're with can be like, wow, like she's amazing. And I think that that's huge because you represent you, but I'm also representing my roots. So I'm representing my family. And you have to remember that when you're doing anything.
Oh yes.
Yeah, family's huge. I mean, they're always going to be with us. They're never going to leave us. So I think that's what the hardest thing is. Do you live close to your family right now?
I live 11 hours away.
Same with me. I'm not 11 hours. I live like 7 hours, but it's hard. Like no matter the distance, if you're not within a couple hours of your family, it's tough, especially going out of college, going onto your own and like being in the real world and just like finding yourself. So how has your transition been? I know track just ended, but how has it been just going off on your own and then graduating college and everything?
I'm still taking classes. That's one of the other parts about transferring that sucks, is all your credits get mixed up. So
Uh,
that's been a mess. But other than that, I feel like my transition was easy, like when I came into Oklahoma. But now, like, I already knew what I wanted to do when I finished school. And like, so I kind of already had my plan. So I feel like it's really easy. Like, I know the way, like, I want to get in the gym, and it's like, I know what I want my body to look like. Like, I've been working on my skin. Like,
yes.
I've been going to the dermatologist. It's like, I know like what I want my skin to look like. I know what I want to do with my hair. Like, I know like this version of Tori, but also like the woman that I want to be, like the daughter that I want to be, the girlfriend that I want to be, the niece that I want to be, the cousin. Like, I know how I want to grow and where I'm going, and just like the impact that I want to start to make. And I know like what I want to do with my media. So I feel like, because I knew my career was going to come to an end, whether that was at regionals or after this weekend, which is nationals for track, which we were pretty close to making it, but it's okay. It's sad, but I knew it was going to be an end either after this weekend or 2 weekends ago. So I had to have my plan, because I didn't want to just finish it and be like, okay, so what now? It's like I
Right.
knew everything that I wanted to do. And for me, I feel like that allowed me to be able to take a deep breath and just be like, okay, well, now you got your end goal. So baby steps, we can do what we got to do.
That's super important. That is so empowering right there because knowing your next steps in life is so crucial. Do you do journaling or manifestation? Like, what is some advice that you would give to other college athletes who might be going through the same transition?
Definitely journaling helps. I started to journal, and then if you read too, like reading inspirational books or books that are going to help you for the future also really help. But also reach out to resources. Talking to people who went through the same transition as you, I think, is really inspiring, but also helpful to know, like, that to know that people go through struggles too. Because I feel like you see these people who are so big, or these creators or whatever, or just people who have their whole life figured out, and people think that it was just all easy for them. And a lot of times everyone goes through, pretty much it goes down before it gets better. And I think that that's something that everyone needs to remember.
Both of you guys were athletes, student athletes, and with all the big busy schedules as with school, what would you say is the biggest misconception that you have like received from like say non-athletic people? So like that people may.
Non-athletic people, people who cannot play sports. I'm just kidding.
I feel like people just think that we have it super easy, I guess you could say, because we are very fortunate. Like at Oklahoma State, yes, like I will say we are very fortunate. We have our own trainers, and we have like all the academic resources, and we have everything. But I don't think people understand like the toll that sometimes being a collegiate athlete takes on you. You have expectations that you're like expected to meet. You have grades that you're expected to keep up. You you have practices that you're expected to be at. You're expected to do all these things. And if you don't hit those expectations, there are consequences sometimes. And it's like you have to do all that while keeping yourself sane. And sometimes that's not easy. Another thing too is
Yeah.
like not a lot of college athletes work. And if you're not on scholarship and you're like expected to be at practice, and you're expected to do this and do that, like struggle you struggle. Like if you don't have like money coming in, like in ways that you need money to come in and stuff like that, and you're not getting paid and you can't have a job, like you're going to struggle. And it sucks because it's like all those, like the time that you go to practice and the time that you go to class and the time you maybe got to go to like a study hall or this, like could be spent like, you know, working, but you can't do it because you're trying to pursue something that you love.
For
Yeah,
sure.
I agree with you, Tori. Like I think a lot of people don't realize the sacrifice that goes into college athletics. And it's not like we're just handed these things. We've literally been sacrificing our entire lives. Like we gave up so much in our younger years just to reach college. And then college is a whole different grind. So
Yep.
I think, people see the nice glitz and the glam. Oh, wow, you get all this gear, you get to travel here and there. Like it just is amazing. But that is due to a lot of sacrifice. And so it's just like with anything, we do get rewarded for the sacrifices that we make. And like as you're seeing from your hard work, you were literally a walk-on, and now you are the biggest NIL earner at the University of Oklahoma. So
Oklahoma
it's
State, girl. Oklahoma State. You said
Oklahoma,
University of
sorry,
Oklahoma.
It's okay.
Oklahoma State University. But like you see the hard work and the dedication that you put into that, and then that leads to so much more at the end of the tunnel. And I think that people miss out on that because they see right now is Tori, all these followers. She's doing great things. She's getting all these brand deals. Like it's not just given, it's earned.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to work for them. And then you have to work to keep your numbers up too. And keeping your numbers up is hard. Like for me, one thing I feel like my biggest struggle is right now is like with TikTok. And it's like, if I don't post in a day, I'll lose like 500 followers. And it's like, I'll post a
What?
That's
video. Yeah,
crazy.
it's ridiculous. Like I think maybe like 2 weeks ago, my following count was at like maybe like 620K, and now it's at like almost 615.9K. Like, and it's because I necessarily haven't been posting as much, obviously just because I was finishing up my track season and I had different priorities. But like when you stop posting
Yeah.
and you're not consistent, then followers go down real quick.
And I think that's another thing that people don't realize as well with like social media and stuff is you have to keep up such a consistent schedule. And then when you're an athlete and when you're in college, or if you're doing other things in life that like social media might not be a priority at that moment, everyone's like, what? Why did she post today? It's like, man, I have a life. I have other things going on. And
Oh
this
yeah.
social media right now has to take a break. So do you think that there's been sometimes where you're like, I just need to take a break from socials. I need to get off of here. Or is it pretty easy for you to just keep going through it because it's what you love to do?
Oh yeah. I feel like this is not something I don't think I've ever spoken about, but I actually got hacked back in November.
What?
Oh yeah, they hacked into my phone and they hacked into my eyes only on my Snapchat and they leaked them
No.
privately. It wasn't anything too big. Like it wasn't anything that I necessarily haven't not posted myself, but there were things that like the world just didn't need to see. And I don't know who it was.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why he did it, but this guy had it like set. And I took like 2 months off of social media. I mean, I was scarred. I didn't go to classes. I was not eating. I was not going to practice. I was not doing anything. I was afraid to leave my house. I was afraid to be seen in public. Like, and I like literally like I almost gave up on my life. Like, and I don't, that's not something that I've ever talked about just because like I don't think anybody understands like the toll that had on me. But it's just like I had to take a break because I literally could not get on social media or do anything for myself. Like it was ridiculous. And the way that this guy did it was just insane. And I don't know who it was to this day. I still don't know. But like I literally, that was the time that I was like, I can't. I literally couldn't. And so anytime like it got close to anything with that, like, yeah, it was bad.
Girl.
This was recent in November, you said?
Like, yeah, this past November.
Oh my gosh. Girl, I can understand the pain with being hacked because my old page, I was close to 10,000K, and then someone hacked in my page and stole my information, stole my old email, and tried to steal my old Cash App. So I had to make a new Cash App. Tried to steal my PayPal, so I ended that PayPal. And like they turned my page, they impersonated me and turned my page into like a flip Cash App flip thing. And it
Yeah.
was like I literally had an anxiety attack and panic attack where people like I remember having a couple people try to send death threats to me, message me, to where like I literally had to call the cops and like explain this whole situation, and literally had to explain Instagram, which they took so long because I
Right.
guess I
Instagram's
wasn't
bad.
like a celebrity well enough. So it was so like I feel like trying to build a new page was, I mean, it was already hard work because you had to try to tell people that this is you, like this is your new official page. You know, the old page got hacked, and let folks please block them or report them and everything. And it was just like, so girl, I'm so sorry you had to go through that.
It's okay. I still am like scared to this day, and like I feel like it changed me as a person, and like the security I have now like in my life is 10 times more than it ever was. But yeah, like that was just terrible to me. Like I feel like I was in a very vulnerable state for a really long time, and like I just feel like I was lost, and like I feel like I had to rebuild me before I was able to like rebuild myself on the media, because I was not okay for a minute. Like I was just not okay.
And do you
Ah,
think you were not okay because you had put so much into it and then you had a lot of your identity wrapped up into your media that you were like, oh my God, I need to take a break to just discover myself? Or was it just because it was like something so traumatic? Like what was your feeling there?
It was more so because it was traumatic, because like it was my privacy, and like the way that this
Yeah.
person tried to portray me on the media was just like, I mean, it was just ridiculous in the way. I mean, like he threatened me. He threatened all these girls in my Snapchats. Like if any of my friends slid up on like a story and was like, "What is wrong with you? You need to take this down." Like he was like, "I'm coming after you next." He posted like
Oh my
he
God.
posted pictures of my teammates and was like the entire like Oklahoma State University track and field team, like, like I'm coming after y'all. Like it was a very like targeted. And at first, like everyone was like, what did you do? Everyone was like, what did you do? What did you do to the person? I'm like, I didn't do anything. Like, I'm like, I'm not a mean
Yeah, what
person.
the heck?
The one thing, there's two things I could have thought of or maybe three that I did. One, I did not respond to a DM, and I don't have to because I'm not entitled to respond to anybody. Two, I
right.
Absolutely
blocked
not.
somebody because they left a rude or negative comment or something. Or three, someone commented something negative and maybe I commented back and they didn't like the way I commented back. But I've never, or I turned
Girl.
somebody down. Like I'm not a bad person. I'm not a mean person. Like I can't, so like and people were coming at me sideways, like, oh, what did you do? I was like, nothing. I didn't do anything. And
Yeah.
it was just, it was
It's funny that
yeah.
people would blame you, like, what did you do? Even though you're the one that's going through all this and this is like a super traumatic experience, people are blaming you still. Like, there's so many trolls out there. I just don't understand how they have enough time to just put people down.
Yeah, so it was more so I think just traumatic to me because the simple fact that like my privacy was like completely just destroyed. And so it's like I didn't feel like I had privacy. So I wanted to get to a point where like I, you know, was better again. And then like I had to keep it together. I mean, like I still had to get up and try and go to practice. I still had to get up and try and go to class, and like I had to do like a big
Right.
deal where like certain like this company flew out to my house and I had to do this recording session. I had to put on this face, and it was 2 days after it happened. I had to put on this poker face, and like the same night it happened, I was on a TV show. Like I was on TV for the first time ever, and I wasn't even excited about it. I just sat on the couch with a poker face
Wow.
and I just looked at myself. I was like, okay, cool. Like there's so many
Yeah.
things that I was passionate and excited about just went down the drain. And I could not, I just hated my life. I hated everything. Like I hated being alive, as sad as that sounds. But I did, because it was just like I never knew, I didn't know who it was. I didn't know if this person knew me or what, but like it dated back to like my friend. Like my friend had almost gotten hacked like a couple.
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys can, okay, sorry, a number started calling me and then it said it stopped recording. Anyways, but my it kind of went back to my friend where like it was the same, I don't know what it's called, VPN or something, some like serial number, because Snapchat sends you notification when someone's trying to log into your stuff, and like it was the same
Mhm.
exact same to the point like place. And I remember I called my coach and I went to the police station and I tried to like deal with it, and I was like, I don't know how to do it. And the cop literally looked at me and goes, well, that's your fault for having pictures like that. And he goes, and literally goes, I'm
Girl,
not going to do anything about it, sorry. I said,
it's
yeah, literally, that's a male cop. And the thing is, it's like these pictures weren't even bad. Like none of them were full nude. Like he didn't have access to any of that. Like there was none of that. But like he had posted pictures of me and like my guy friends and try to like portray me as like someone who's just out there. And like he had posted, and I mean, it
Oh
was
my
he.
God.
When I tell you this man was scrolling, because he went all the way back to a picture of me and my ex-boyfriend from 2019, and was like, "Oh, she's for the streets," and like literally put like, "She's for the streets." I found like 12 guys in her phone. So I said, "Cool, you found pictures of me and 12. Like two of these people were my ex. Like I used to talk to this person. Like you don't know my backstory, but you really went out your way to try and make me look terrible for what?" And it's just like that killed me. And I mean, it was that, and then like they like posted like videos I had taken that like just for videos that I kept for myself, but like, you know, like they weren't even bad. Like really none of them weren't that bad, or like something that maybe I haven't posted before, but I never posted them publicly for the world to see. So,
But either way, like either way, if they were bad, if they were not bad, that is your personal
exactly.
privacy. No one should have access to that whatsoever. And so the fact that it was out there in the first place, like that is taking away some of your privacy, and that's horrible. Like that should never be allowed ever. I can't believe that someone would take their time to make you look bad.
Yeah.
Like for what reason? It just to put others down. It doesn't make sense to
And it
me.
was weird because like in the conversations that he had with people within my snap, to some people he was like, "I'm just doing this for fun." Some other people he was like, "She deserves it. Like she has everything coming for her." To other people he was um like, "I'm just getting the sheer entertainment of knowing she's like miserable right now." So like he was telling all these different people, and he's telling other girls like, "I'm coming after you for trying to defend her." Like
That's scary, Tori.
it was petrifying. And then I tried to go to the police. Police did nothing. So it was like I literally was fending for myself.
Damn, girl. Look,
Wow.
it feels like, like I said, I'm in that same situation because it's like you had to try to protect your reputation. Even when you knew yourself, there was close people that knew you. Like, then you're like, yeah, she's not like that. Like, I know this person. Like, she's not like that. It was the same thing, like, with me, too. Like, everybody that knew me or knew close to me knew I would never do, like, none of that cash app flip. Cause to me, it's like, why would I want to steal anybody's identity? I'm me.
Yeah.
Like, I work too
Yeah.
hard. Like, I work hard. I don't got the time to scam people or nothing like that. And the fact I felt like somebody, like someone try to come when someone trying to come after you, like, and then the police had the nerve to like victim blame you. It's just, it's atrocious. It's terrible. Like, you shouldn't, no one should ever go through something like that you went through. And
And I hope that we can have more people in our society that are just more understanding, like, oh, so you don't have pictures in your phone that you don't want other people to see? Like, imagine if you were in my shoes.
What the worst part was having to text my family, because all my family had me on Snapchat. So all my family saw that. So having to text my family and be like, "Yeah, I took these pictures." Like my dad and my grandpa ripped me to pieces.
Hmm.
You know, my mom and my grandma,
Oh my
like, and like
God.
the women in my family were a lot more understanding because they were obviously teenagers at one point too, and they were young and they were, you know, whatever. But it's just like that was probably the hardest thing. And like even my coaches, like I had to explain to my coaches what was going on, and like it was a very public thing. Like I had like other coaches from like different schools reaching out to me. Like when I tell you, I had people in like Japan messaging me and asking if I'm okay because they heard what happened. Like everybody knew. And it was like I was
Wow.
kind of just like, "Oh my gosh." Like I don't think people like, and it killed me. And literally, like I said, like I've never spoke about this. I think more so just for like the fear of like it happening again. But at the end of the day, like you can't. I think one of the biggest things I learned from that situation is that if someone wants to come after you, they're going to come after you. If someone has ill intent towards you, they're going to have ill intent towards you. And there's nothing that you can say or do to stop that. If they want to do it, they're going to do it. But it's
Mhm.
what you make out the situation. And I knew from that point, like honestly, if I wanted to, I could have made an OnlyFans. I could have made an OnlyFans, and I could have been like, I could have, taken just advantage from it. And I could have been like, yeah, well, he already leaked it, so here we go. Like y'all can see my body now, and I can get money off it. But that's just not what I wanted to do. Like I still wanted to have like my privacy
Right.
and my protection, because that's not me. Like, yeah, I might post my body on Instagram, but I do that more so because I'm confident, and I want y'all to know that I'm confident in the body that I work for and grind for every single day, not because I want male
Yeah.
attention. But I want also other girls to know that it's okay to post your body and it's okay to be confident, and that does not make you like a derogatory term at all.
Period. I think that's super important. I feel like we need to quote that. Like, yeah, you're showing your body because you freaking
Oh yeah.
grinded. Like, we grind for this. This is not easy. Like, you're not born with this great body. And it's like, yeah, girls, it's okay to show that. And it shouldn't be taken in a way that we just want male attention, because no, that's not the purpose of it at all. Like, literally, not even the slightest. We're trying to not only empower ourselves and our brand, but also to empower other women, to just let them know that, hey, it's okay. Be proud of yourself, be bold, right? So I think that's awesome that you're doing that, building, because we need to build this community of strong women. And a lot of times women are afraid to show that because we're put down so much, just like in your situation. Our male counterparts are not supportive. Like, they think that they would do no wrong. But that's just really not the case. So I think that's
It's,
super important.
you know what's crazy? It's like we get criticized for showing our body, whether it's like in a bikini or bra. Like, yeah, we look good. I mean, y'all got more confidence than I do. I'm thick. Like, I got a thick side, whatever, but I'm still
But
trying to
do
look
you
Go
good.
still
say
work
you still look
it?
good.
But
Yeah.
like, but say a guy who is, you know, ripped and everything, all he got to do is have his little male lingerie, which is gray pants, gray sweatpants. I call them male lingerie because you could see everything. They get a pass, and to me, it's like, so it's okay for a male to do that, but dang, when we got a nice body, when we just worked hard for it, we get like, oh, she for the streets and stuff. It's like, I know y'all not throwing some shade. I know darn well y'all, ooh, y'all got some
Please,
nerve.
that's so annoying. Even just like a bikini picture is like, oh, that's a little scandalous. But for men, it's like they walk around with their shirts off all the time. We can't do that unless it's for male attention, you
Yeah.
know? So I think it's important that we take from that the fact that, yeah, we're confident in ourselves. And so if you want to put us down, sorry. Like, you are a perfect example of rising above that and not just sinking in. Yeah, you said you could make an OnlyFans, but you have dreams and goals and ambitions for your future, and you're not going to let that stand in the way. So, sorry. Sorry,
Yeah.
guys.
I remember I do have a question, Tori. I remember doing your story for Beautiful Ballers blog, and one of your aspirations, I believe, was representing a country for track. Do you still, is that like still like the goal that you like see yourself like completing?
I mean, if the time comes, yeah, because one thing I think that people don't necessarily know about track is like you can kind of compete for yourself. So like if I wanted to, if I was like, you know what, like I love track so much, like I miss it, I'm not ready to let go of it yet. Like I can still go train with my coach and just compete unattached. And like because people go pro, but they don't necessarily sign. Like I can literally consider myself a pro athlete and I could still go and compete and like have a coach and I can travel with my team still and I could still do all this until an agency picks me up or until like a brand picks me up and signs me. But until then, you just compete for yourself. And so, like, if I wanted to go back and compete for Team Puerto Rico, I can. But I think another thing too is like people's goals and stuff do change. Like, I feel like for me, like, I did always want to compete with Puerto Rico, but I saw the way that my season went. So I wouldn't say it just diminished, but like, I guess that was a goal that I kind of put in my rear view. Like, it's still there. If I want to turn around and go back and chase it, I will. But for now, it's like I have bigger things that are going to get me a lot farther than just this.
Because I feel like I will say this, Tori, you truly like, you know, you truly are one of the people that have an inspiration in my life. Like,
Thank you.
I may be 31, but you know, there's no age when it comes to inspiring people, and you truly one of the biggest inspirations. And I've, you know, supported you and everything, and you know, you have an amazing story that should be
Thank
told.
you.
And my question is, what makes you more than an athlete?
I feel like the person that I am, honestly, like if I could change the way the world rotated just to put a smile on my boyfriend's face, my mom's face, my dad's face, anybody in my family or my friends, I would. Like I'm the type of person that I always make sure I'm good, but I like to take care of my people first too.
I love it. And you're so much more than an athlete. You have it figured out much earlier than a lot of other people. So I can't wait to see where you are a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now.
Thank you. I appreciate
Everybody be
that.
on the lookout for Tori because she's making big
Thank
moves.
you.
Yeah. And you are the epitome of the women that we are representing here on She Is Serious. Like, we are more than athletes. This is why it should be taken seriously, because it's not happening enough, in our world.
Yeah.
So you coming on here and sharing your story with us is awesome. And we're super excited to see where the future takes you.
Thank you. I am too. So thank you so much for this. I really appreciate it.
Yay! Also, if you guys just know, y'all support Tori. She does have merch. Hello.
My Amazon
Y'all
merch.
Oh,
support.
good.
I ha-
That's your
I
merch?
have,
That
like,
is
a
so
line
freaking
on
cute.
Amazon. I worked with them, so like my merch is up there.
Yes, support, because Hunty,
Okay,
y'all
go
better
get that now.
support.
That's so cute. That's super unique too.
Thanks. I love it.
Yeah. Amazing. Okay, well, we'll have to do a full circle next year, see what's going on with Tori.
Awesome. I would love that.
And if you guys don't, yes, I'm so excited. This is super cool. Like, I always tell all of our guests, it's a therapy session for us because we get to talk to you guys. And especially me being an athlete too, it's cool to connect with all the other athletes that we have. And just follow Tori if you don't already. We'll put her socials in the comments below. Don't try to be a troll though, okay? Don't try to be a troll.
I'm real quick with my block button.
And we'll see.
So that's one thing with me. If you're negative or trolling, bye. You're out. So
Period.
Right, exactly. Period. Yeah, you don't need them negative followers. No one needs negativity. We're here to promote positivity, baby.
of course.
All day,
Yes.
every day.
Yes. So make sure you guys tune in next Tuesday. We are having new episodes for you guys at 7 a.m. Pacific time, 10 a.m. Eastern. And this is why She Is Serious. We'll see you next time, sis. Peace.
Bye.